In this video, we're going to take a look at complex fractions or complex rational expressions. So a complex fraction or a complex rational expression is a fraction in which the numerator or denominator contains a fraction or two or more rational expressions. So here are some examples of complex fractions. All right, so let's take a look at a real basic example then. Now this fraction bar means to divide, so I can rewrite this as 3/2 divided by 5/6. Well, when you divide fractions, you leave the first fraction the same, you change it to multiplication, and you take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Divide out the common factors, and then you multiply across. In this case, that gives me 9/5. All right. So this gives us at least an idea on how to simplify a complex fraction. Write the numerator and denominator as a single rational expression if necessary. Divide the resulting fraction by multiplying the fraction in the numerator by the reciprocal in the denominator, and then simplify if possible. All right, so let's simplify each complex fraction. All right, notice I have more than one fraction in the numerator, so I want to reduce these two fractions down to one. So I'm going to write out the numerator over here. All right, since the denominators are different, I need an LCD. In this case, the LCD is x squared y. So I'll rewrite it using the new denominator. So what factor am I missing here that's in my LCD? Well, that's an x. So x times 14, that's 14x. Notice this denominator and the LCD are the same, so I'll just bring down the 49. Add them. Here's the new numerator. Now, let's do the same thing for the denominator. Here, the LCD is xy squared. So we'll rewrite that here. So what factor am I missing here that's in my LCD? Well, that's an x. So that's 2x. Again, they match, so that's 7. And now I can write that as one fraction. So now I have the numerator with the denominator. So now I can rewrite this as a multiplication problem by taking the numerator and multiplying by the reciprocal of the denominator. Now, for this numerator, I can factor, I can divide out a 7. All right, so I can divide out the factor 2x plus 7. I can divide out x to the first and a y to the first. So that leaves me on the top with 7 times 1 times 1 times y, that's 7y. On the bottom, x times 1, that is x. So now that complex fraction is now simplified. Okay, let's take a look at the next example then. So, again, notice I have multiple fractions in both the numerator and the denominator, so I want to get them down to 1. So let's start with the numerator. I will rewrite 3 as 3 over 1. Here the LCD is n minus 1. So here I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by n minus 1. So that's 3n minus 3. This 5 stays the same. And now I can rewrite it as one fraction. Combine the 5 minus 3. That's 3n plus 2 over n minus 1. Now, let's do the same thing for the denominator. For the n, I'll write it as n over 1. Again, the LCD is n minus 1. So multiply the top and the bottom by n minus 1. So that's n squared minus n. And since either are the same, I'll just bring down the 2. So that gives me n squared minus n minus 2 divided by n minus 1. Okay, so now my numerator over the denominator, I can rewrite this as a multiplication problem. Okay, so I'm going to factor this first. So that factors to be n minus 2 and n plus 1. Now, the n minus 1's divide out. No other factors divide out. So we'll rewrite it as 3n plus 2 divided by n minus 2 times n plus 1. And this complex fraction cannot be simplified any further.